welcome to my channel. They call me aussiebede. I hope you enjoy the video. The subject today is the Anunnaki, and I'm sure most of you have already heard of them, but some haven't, so I'll endeavour to bring the subject to your attention. Well, the Anunnaki, also transcribed as the Anarchy, Anunnaki, Anana, and Anarchy, and other variations, are a group of deities of the ancient Sumerians, Akkadians, Assyrians, Armenians, and the Babylonians. In the earliest Sumerian writings about them, which come from the post-Akkadian period, the Anunnaki are deities. In the pantheon, descendants of An and Ki, the god of the heavens and the god of the earth, called the goddess of the earth, and their primary function was to decree the fate of humanity. Well, the Anunnaki are chiefly mentioned in library texts, and very little evidence to support the existence of any cult of them has yet been unearthed. This is likely due to the fact that each member of the Anunnaki had his or her own individual cult, separate from the others. Similarly, no representations of the Anunnaki as a complete group has yet been discovered, although a few depictions of 2 or 3 individual members together have been identified. Deities in ancient Mesopotamia were almost exclusively anthropomorphic. They were thought to possess extraordinary powers, and were often envisioned as being of tremendous physical size. The deities typical wore melan, an ambiguous substance which covered them in terrifying splendour. Melan could also be worn by heroes, kings, giants, and even demons. The effect that seeing a deity's melan has on a human is described as need, a word for the physical tingling of the flesh. Deities were almost always depicted wearing horned caps, consisting of up to 7 superimposed pairs of ox horns. They were also sometimes depicted wearing clothes with elaborate decorative gold and silver ornaments. The ancient Mesopotamians believed that their deities lived in heaven. After an earlier history of visiting Earth in mythological texts, and that a god statue was a physical embodiment of the god himself. As such, cult statues were given constant care and attention, and a set of priests was assigned to tend to them. These priests would clothe the statues and place feasts before them so they could eat. A deity's temple was believed to be the deity's literal place of residence. It had boats, full-size barges which were normally stored inside their temple, and were used to transport the cult statues along waterways during various religious festivals. Gods also had chariots, which were used for transporting their cult statues by land. Sometimes a deity's cult statue would be transported to the location of a battle so that the deity could watch the battle unfold. The major deities of the Mesopotamian pantheon, which included the Anunnaki, were believed to participate in the assembly of the gods, through which the gods made all their decisions. The assembly was seen as a divine counterpart to the semi-democratic legislative system that existed during the 3rd dynasty of in 2112 BC to 2004 BC. Well, the Sumerians claim that the Anunnaki came to Earth looking for a mineral, gold, which they needed to replenish their atmosphere. With them, they bought a workforce called the Gigi. But the Gigi rebelled against the Anunnaki due to the working conditions. So the Anunnaki needed another workforce. So they took a subspecies on Earth and added their own DNA to the species, creating a new species. And they called this new species man, the black-headed human. But this new species also multiplied and rebelled against the Anunnaki as well. So the Anunnaki, becoming worried, decided to destroy the humans. And as it happened, through scientific endeavours, they knew that the earth was going to flood. So they kept this from the humans, and using ships or spaceships, the Anunnaki hovered above the earth. But one of the gods, Anu, built an ark for some of the humans so that they could escape, and when the water went down, they could replenish the earth. After a while, the Anunnaki then decided to let the humans survive and replenish, so that they then still had a workforce to mine their gold, which again they needed to replenish their atmosphere on their planet. The story of Nibiru, which is called the ninth planet, was written in cuneiform text on stone tablets by the Sumerians. It is said the planet orbits the Sun every 3,600 years. Calculations suggest that this planet may be about 10 times more massive than the Earth, and orbits perhaps 600 times further from the Sun than the Earth does. Astronomers around the world are scouring the sky with powerful telescopes as we speak, trying to spot the ninth planet. Astronomers Mike Brown, Constantinian Badegin, Scott Shepherd and Chad Trujillo have noticed weird clusterings in the orbits of the small objects beyond Neptune, which indicate a large planet with a strong gravitational pull might exist there. So in closing, I'd like to bring your attention to the fact that all over the world they have the same story, the same myth and the same buildings, the designs, pyramids, which indicates that there was a one world government. You only have to look at the ruins to see that a lot of the designs are very similar. A lot of the stories and religious stories are very similar. So, as you can see from some of the photos, the ancient ruins look very similar. So, in conclusion, one needs to ask oneself, why would the Sumerians write all this information in stone and clay, a product that would last forever, if it wasn't true? And why would they write it in a language that can be deciphered, so that future generations can see this information and learn from it and be warned by it? The question is, will the Anunnaki ever revisit the Earth? Is there any proof that there is a ninth planet? Is there any indication that aliens have already visited this Earth and are indeed visiting this Earth? So the questions are abundant, and hopefully you will have an open mind. Aussiebede from Newcastle, Australia. All the best, and peace be with you.